Dustin Poirier came out, and this is about 2 weeks ago, right? I'm a little late on this one, but it's actually taken me about 2 weeks to formulate a thought on this. But Dustin Poirier, who has fought both Justin Gaethje and Khabib, came out and said that of everybody in the division, matchup style-wise, Justin Gaethje has the best chance to beat Khabib. And anybody can have an opinion. You guys, me, we can all have an opinion. To get an opinion from a world champion in Justin Gaethje who has been in there with both of those guys, that's a whole nother level of opinion. And Poirier didn't go as far as to say he was predicting Justin Gaethje. He was very careful with his words, and he just said that Justin Gaethje has the best chance. Okay, let's think about that. First off, is he right? Do we agree? We acknowledge that he is in a more sophisticated situation to make a judgment than we are, but we are going to condescendingly and arrogantly wonder if his assessment is right. Okay, so let's start with that. Secondly, we then have to come to the question of, if Gaethje's to beat Khabib, how does he do it? And I think that's where things get very fun, because in many ways, I feel that's a different match. Look, the first thing you have to do with Khabib is find a guy who can match that pace. If you can't match the pace, you really can't go any further in your analysis. And if you're a really lazy guy, you'll then throw out the puncher's chance, okay? But it is very tough because Khabib is one of the few athletes, not just fighters, one of the few athletes that has found a way to weaponize pace. So before you ever get to the punches and the kicks and the grappling and the submission holds, you have to acknowledge his greatest weapon, which is how active and aggressive he's going to be. If you can't match that, you've got a tremendous problem. So right away, can you match it? No, Justin Gaethje is not going to outpace Khabib. But will Justin Gaethje match that pace for at least 15 minutes? In a 25-minute fight, he can drag ass. He can gut it out. He can push through the other 10. He's only got to win 3 rounds. Can he do that? Ugh. Yeah, I think he can. Particularly with the analysis that I just gave that he only needs to do it for 15 minutes. He needs to hang in there for 25, but he's got to be able to match him. Khabib throws 5 jabs. Can Justin throw 5 back? Khabib takes a shot. Can Justin take a shot back? One thing that happens with Khabib is nobody tries to take him down. They respect his wrestling so much, they go into the fight and try to think, defensively, how can I stop him from taking me down, as opposed to the other side of the coin, which is, how do I take him down? One reason Jon Jones has done so well against wrestlers is Jon never played that game. He never went into training camp or had a mindset of, okay, this guy's a more decorated wrestler than me. How do I keep distance? How do I threaten a knee? How do I threaten uppercuts? How do I keep my back off the fence to avoid being taken down? Jon said, you know what? I'm going to go take his ass down. That's something he's not expecting me to do. And by the way, should I succeed, I now don't have to worry about a takedown, because there was a takedown. Oh, by the way, it's mine. Very interesting, but Jon is one of the only guys to go out and do that. Jon did it in large part for the wrong reasons. If he had a great striker, then he wanted to go strike with him. He did it to show the world, I can beat this guy at his best game. Either way, Jon was correct strategically in that it caught opponents off guard. Everybody knows going to fight. Here's the deal. Here's what you're good at. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what you're going to try to stop me from doing. Here's what I'm going to try to stop you from doing. Jon, first guy of any notoriety, level of success, to actually flip that script. The reason I bring Jon into this, because if we look at Gaethje, while being a great wrestler, I do not suggest for you is going to go out and wrestle Khabib. I don't suggest that for you because Gaethje doesn't wrestle anyone, which drives me crazy. Drives me crazy because I followed his wrestling career at Northern Colorado. I watched him get 5th in the country, and then I watched him get away from it and just fall in love with being a brawler. And he's been so fun and so many people love him for it, but I think there's a balance in there somewhere. I do think if you're going to go in and fight Khabib, a great way, as opposed to being defensive, while using the defensive mindset, just go back to what Vince Lombardi once said, famously. The best defense is a good offense. That's true. Defense is a wonderful thing, but it's even better if you don't ever need to use it because you're on the attack. That's what Vince Lombardi was saying. So how is Gaethje going to beat Khabib? That's still the question. If we acknowledge that he could keep up with Khabib's pace for at least 3 rounds, but I think then we also have to tip our hat to Khabib that Justin's not going to go and take him down and out-wrestle him because Justin isn't going to try. So then the question becomes, well, what if Khabib is so good, as everybody who's been in the practice room claims that he is, as everybody who's ever sat in their living room and watched him take opponent down after opponent down, keep them there round after round, and bludgeon them? Is he good enough to do that to Gaethje? And if he is, can Gaethje scramble and get back to his feet? I think that's where we start to get in the X's and O's, and if you're a betting man, that's what you're going to have to start asking yourself before you part with your money. Now, let's just say that Justin is. And here would be the final question. If he is and he can keep this fight standing, match the pace, not get backed up, keep his back off the fence. I say keep his back off the fence even before I say get taken down and get mauled. Because Khabib does not take anybody down until he pushes you into the fence. So if you could just keep your back off the fence, your chances of getting taken down and mauled get a lot better. Okay. In a stand-up battle, a purely stand-up battle, fisticuffs, do you believe that Justin Gaethje can get the best of Khabib? If you go back and look at how many people Justin has knocked out versus how many Khabib has knocked out, you'd be fine to say, yes, I favor that to Justin. Okay, great. But you're going to have plenty of people to take that action. Because one reason you haven't seen Khabib do it is Khabib has never needed to do it. His plan A has always worked, and the one time that we've seen him stuck on his feet, I know he got criticized for his stand-up in the Al Iaquinta fight. That's just not what I saw. What I saw was Al Iaquinta giving Khabib the hardest fight of his life. I saw Khabib protecting himself and firing back. I saw Al, who's a straight-up tough guy, street fighter who brings it into the professional ring, not winning as many of those exchanges as Khabib. And while Khabib was being teased by many because of how basic his skills were. Guys, it's basics that win championships. I just saw something else. I thought Khabib looked great, quite frankly. He played the game to the highest level. The game is, I hit you and you don't hit me. That's the game. And Khabib played it. I thought he looked like a good striker. To support my theory, of which most people are going to push back on, but to support my theory after they push back, I would then just remind you when he got stuck on his feet with Conor McGregor, who had just come off 30 minutes with Floyd. Floyd couldn't put him down. Khabib put him down. And you could call that a lucky shot. Sure you could. But you only have so many things to look to in the stand-up as it pertains to Khabib. So on one hand, you want to tease Khabib and say that his striking looked amateur, even though he was winning the striking. Or you want to call his shot against Conor lucky. Something that we couldn't even say for Floyd. I mean, it sounds as though you're just somebody that wants to be anti-Khabib stand-up. It just sounds a little bit interesting. So to come back to what Poirier said, and I wish Poirier would have finished his thought. I feel like Poirier created a conversation instead of having a conversation. I feel like he created a conversation by saying that of the guys in the division, Gaethje is most likely, but he didn't follow that by giving us his opinion, his prediction. If these two match up, are you predicting Gaethje? Because that would be even more interesting, at least for me. Having a guy that had been in there with them both come and share his opinion, for me, would be something compelling. But unfortunately, we didn't get that far with Poirier. Should those two guys match up, you can count on Poirier having to weigh in on that. Somebody, and by somebody, at least 10 different media outlets are going to call him, and they're going to ask him that question. And Poirier has courage. He'll answer the question. But I'm still curious as to what it is. I don't know that I believe that Gaethje, while I do believe is a top contender, I do not know that I fully believe that Gaethje can give Khabib a harder fight than Tony's about to give him. But the mere fact that we're discussing it is a compliment to Justin, for sure. Tony, former champion. Whether he's interim champion or not, he's former champion. Khabib, current champion. So the fact that we're now discussing Gaethje, I think that it's very compelling. I think that it's very relevant. I maintain any question you have at 155, any question, the right answer is Justin Gaethje.